last week on the Nicoletti Show. So without further ado, let's welcome Paul to the show. Paul, let's do it, man. Welcome.
I'm watching prices fall. I'm watching all the price reductions here. I'm seeing the sales drop, and I'm going to try to gauge where the bottom is. I'm very careful about the term catching a falling knife. I don't want to catch a falling knife. There is risk, definitely risk. And if we have a bigger storm season this year, guaranteed you're going to have more carriers coming out, insurance carriers leaving or trying to leave. And they're calling for a big season. So we'll see what happens here. Knock wood. Hopefully we don't have that. Both you and I are here in Florida. We don't want that out.
Just knock on wood. What about REO auctions? What are you seeing in that market right now?
They're kind of ahead of the game with the economy. They have good economists that work for them. They're anticipating a softening in the market. So we are getting additional inventory, which is great. We're finding more deals, which is good. Give a little trade secret out here. Our best realtors that we've found are people that work small mom and pop brokerages, not your Keller Williams, not your Coldwell Banker, not Remax. Been there for 20, 30 years. They know the market like the back of their hand. We've been fortunate with that. It's just gotten a lot easier and easier with all the technology. And look, it's going to be commonplace for people over the next decade.
It's crazy what we're seeing. And you're right. It's all the technology, all the software platforms that these companies have created that can pull the data and put it on a map and be able to sort through what kind of lead it is.
So there's not enough inventory. So people are turning, instead going to the sheriff's sale or the courthouse steps to buy properties. And you saw a dramatic increase. Look at 2019, only 37% of properties going to auction, meaning foreclosure. And then it went up to 65%. So you're talking almost double.
This stuff broken down like this just really visualizes like what is going on right now.
If you're having trouble and you're buying in a big market, let's say you're in Miami or you're in Jacksonville or in Atlanta, if you want to really start to excel, move about an hour, even 2 hours outside of those big markets, secondary and tertiary markets. We live, that's our bread and butter. We have no competition there. And reduce your maximum allowable offer, your ARV, what you're coming up with, to 65% minus the repairs. But you're going to get these better margin deals, way less competition. You're going to see your numbers, your KPIs go way up. That's what I would recommend.
Thank you so much again for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Hopefully your audience got a lot out of it. And if they want to reach out to me, they can feel free to do that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nicoletti Show, and I am so happy. Today, we are in studio for this episode, and I gotta say, we're gonna have a great episode with the Sheehan brothers, and if you missed any of the episode from last week, you gotta go back, check that out, scan the QR code. That is where you're gonna find all the social media accounts, the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, all the social medias of where you can find the Nicoletti Show, and of course, all the content on probates, quiet titles, partitions, all the messy stuff out there. Don't miss that. And if you are enjoying the episodes, feel free to share the content. Whether you're on the Facebook pages, a YouTube channel, tons of people out there can get value from these episodes. Whether you're just starting out, you're in the game for 5 years, 10 years, there's always a golden nugget out there, and a lot of collaborations are happening in the community. So we can't stress it enough. Feel free to share the content on the groups, to your friends, everything. That's what it's all about. And tonight, I am so excited to have Casey Sheehan, Riley Sheehan, and an amazing episode with the Sheehan brothers. This is going to be one that you really want to dive in on. Get your notepads out, get your pens out, because these guys are killing it right now in the Jacksonville market from Tampa, and we are going to dive in on their processes. And I got to say, I am so excited for tonight, because this is the first time we are doing the in-person studio with the new setup. The Sheehan brothers get the first experience of this, and I wanted to make sure that they were the ones to break this in. So I'm super excited for tonight. I hope you all are too. Get ready. Let's rock this thing. Hey, everybody. My name is Al Nicoletti. I'm an attorney here in Florida, and welcome to the Al Nicoletti Show, where I bring on real estate super investors, rising rock stars, movers and shakers, and leaders of clubs in their communities that educate, entertain, and inspire all things on Florida real estate. And we are always going to provide the best guess and value to you all out there. Whether we are getting into the land, Airbnb, single family homes, commercial properties, or we're going to talk about shopping centers or just crazy new niches out there, or you want to get into branding and marketing, we are always going to provide that best value to you on how you can take your company to the next level. On the show tonight, I got the Sheehan brothers, Casey and Riley. This is going to be one you can't miss, and we're in studio with them. So without further ado, let's welcome them to the show. Casey, Riley, what's up, man?
What's going on,
dude? What's happening?
Yeah.
I'm excited you guys are here. I was thinking about this episode for a while. I was like, I got to have them in. We got to do it at the right time. Mm-hmm. We found the right time, and I was like, let's lock this date in so we can make this happen. Crazy how we met
100%,
3-4 years ago. And how that's just translated and turned into a great relationship 100%. Over the years with getting into messy deals. Mm-hmm. And then I get to meet Casey, a year or two ago, and I'm sure you've worked with me on deals with Riley. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy. Talk to us, guys, like what this journey has been for you. You were in the Tampa market, you were working over there, and then you came to Jax, and what that whole transition's been like. And talk to us about net worth and what that's been like.
Yeah, no, and I'll just kick it off. We'll take it like we'll kind of hit you with the timeline of how everything started. But we met in probably, I think we were talking 2020, 2021 through some mutual investors. But I actually got into real estate with NetWorth Realty at Tampa back in February of 2019. I got my degree in finance from the University of South Florida, where I played college football. So, I was living in Tampa. Casey and I are both from Sarasota originally. We were born and raised there. Mm-hmm. And, took the journey and always had like an aspiring desire to be in real estate. So when I was looking for jobs after college, I ended up meeting my broker, Joshua too. Had an interview with him and said, man, this is a place that I want to be. I always wanted to be a real estate investor. It's something I was always very passionate about. The culture, and he taught me everything that I knew in the Tampa Bay area. So got my jump into it February 2019. Fast forward, going through doing deals all through pre-COVID, past COVID, all the ups and downs, different markets, the whole nine. Ended up climbing my way through the company, and then got the opportunity to buy into the company and open up a new market in the United States where I decided I had some great conversations with Josh, Jackson, some guys that I did some business with in the Tampa area, and decided like, hey, I wanted to be in Florida. I didn't want to go to another market or another state per se. And Jacksonville's the best place where you can buy a house for $30,000, and then we can go out to Ponte Vedra Beach and look at $20 million cribs at the same time. And with that, that's where I'll kind of like, kick it off to Casey. I remember to go open up a net worth office, you have to have a number two going with you. And for me, Casey and I always talked about doing stuff together, and he was in college at the time, and I reached out to him and said, hey, man, I'm going to go open up this office, and I'd love to have you there with me. And I'll kind of just tee it off to
I love that.
So at the time, it was December 2021. I actually just was kind of wrapping up college, took a corporate America sales job, working 9 to 5 in a very gray cubicle, making 100 calls a day, decent salary. And Riley, I had just started the job. I was 2 weeks into it. Riley was like, hey, I want you to come work with me. At that point, I was like, all right, let's fast forward this and let's go to Tampa, learn the ropes. I was like, when I come to Jacksonville, I want to be more of an asset than you having to train me. So it was in August that I went to Tampa, worked with the NetWorth Tampa office for about 8 months before we moved out here and, got Jacksonville up and running. So I got to learn, from an amazing market in Tampa, just seeing all the differences and getting to learn how deals are done there and just implementing that here in Jacksonville. But really the big selling point was getting to work with Big Bro over here.
I'm sure. Yeah. What better way to do that than with each other?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
You guys know how each other works, and you've been doing it for years, right? And talk about Sarasota. What a hot market that is now. Like you guys are from there, but it's like that place is blowing up now. It's like traffic's insane.
I mean, we go home and our mom bought, she still owns a house that we grew up in.
Original owner.
We used to go around and there's cow fields and pastures all around, on the edge of Sarasota. Now it's turned into where it's the middle of Sarasota and every cow pasture is gone, and you drive home to see mom and you're like, Mom, when did 400 houses get built? It's only been 4 months. What's going on? And just absolutely blown up. And same thing with the Tampa market as well too, where, like for me, with even just being at USF and being in Tampa, I mean, that area around University of South Florida and Tampa to even the West Shore area, Midtown, St. Pete, like everything blown. I mean, there was I was there for about 8 to 9 years total of living in Tampa full time. To you look back, I mean, there used to just be where Sparkman Moore, for those that are familiar with that area, that used to be a Hooters. That's all that was down there, was one restaurant. The Florida Aquarium was there, and there was Water Street wasn't a thing. There's nothing to do in downtown. It's completely blown up,
Yeah. I remember the wharf just popped up all of a sudden. I was like, I like this place. It's really cool. Right. Nice little area over there. Yeah. So I got to ask you guys, you're a part of NetWorth, your NetWorth Realty. Why NetWorth? What has been so special about being a part of that NetWorth community?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And with that too, I mean, for us, like I said, NetWorth Realty, nationwide, we're in 36 different markets. And for us, what NetWorth Realty is, we're a full service wholesale brokerage. So in our market, Casey and I, we just handle Jacksonville. Tampa just handles Tampa. Orlando just handles Orlando. Dallas handles Dallas. All those other markets just handle those specific areas. So we may have the company there, but we don't know what's going on necessarily day to day with the deals that they're getting, the whole nine. We're just on the ground here, focusing on it full speed. So here in Jacksonville, we get about 25 to 30 off-market properties a month that we sell to investors, people flipping, even sometimes larger hedge funds, just really anybody that's building a rental portfolio or looking to flip. We're going sourcing off-market properties for them.
Gotcha.
We can also do hard money lending, so we can lend on the properties. And then we're nationally affiliated with Home Depot, so whenever an investor buys from us, they get an app on their phone where they can go in stores and get up to 25% off certain supplies. And then on the back end, the future portion, like I said, my wife Claire, she handles our traditional side. She could list it for 1% as opposed to 3% on the back end.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I was like, 1%.
Yeah, so
that's huge.
You can find it, we can fund it. You're doing the fixing, and then we can help you list it on the back end. And to wrap that all in, just even when we were in the Tampa market, for me, why I started with the company, I'm sure you heard Casey say, you're sitting in a gray cubicle, punching the clock away. The culture was really the biggest thing. I mean, my broker, and he's still a mentor to this day, his name's Joshua too, really emphasized having an amazing culture and building that within a team where, Casey and I played football growing up, and we played on some really good teams and we played on some really bad teams, and I can even tell you that sometimes the bad teams can have the most talent, which is the wildest thing. You're like, how does the most talented team perform the least?
Right.
And it's really just based off of culture and hard work and dedication. If you've got 10 people rowing the boat in the right direction, you're going to get a lot farther than if you've got one person just dipping the oar in the water. You're just going to be going in circles with that team.
Right. Yeah.
So Josh did a huge thing of just making sure we had amazing core values set. Everybody was bought into the team, and I realized hey, if you've got everybody fully bought in where you want to come into work every day, you want to do deals with your teammates. If you sell a deal and I missed out, I'm happy you did it, but I want to be the one that's out there doing it, so we're elevating each other constantly through that. And that's what really made me want to jump into in the first place, was just going into a culture of where I'm not thinking about leaving at 5 o'clock when it's 9 a.m.
Right.
You're coming in, waking up excited to go into work and build your business and work it from there. So most agents that start with NetWorth Realty too want to be a real estate investor themselves also.
Okay. Yeah. So that's another thing too. There's that commonality that you get with those people. There's a certain thing with that that ties into the culture aspect of it.
They're wanting to grow, they're wanting to build, they're giving up to where, if you're an agent with NetWorth Realty, it's commission only. So for us, we're teaching you the ropes, showing you how to get there where you can build your own business. You can have your repeat buyers, your repeat sellers where it's working for you. But also, if Casey's got a buyer that's looking for something, Zach or Victoria in our office can go and find a deal, and Casey can sell it. So it's the whole team's working together to get deals done.
Gotcha. Very, very cool. So we are definitely going to touch on the culture, the training, the team, because I want to get into, kind of want to break this down with like the internal and then get to the external with the messy deals, because I know that's probably something you guys haven't really covered before on a show, which is something about like, how do you get these strategies and the secret sauce to these deals on the messy end? But I got to ask, like when you got to Jax, I'm sure new place, new environment, you didn't know anybody. And there's a lot of people that are kind of in that same and similar position in their communities, or maybe they're moving, and a lot of people are transitioning around right now. What would you say has been like the groups or communities that people should really get into and be involved with in real estate?
Yeah, and I'll just touch on that. I think what's really helped us like build our brand and our image is like attending everything. Like there's not one specific group that you can go to that you're going to benefit more or less from. So like go to the Jax RIA, go to that one person's random event that they're hosting at a Chili's on a Thursday afternoon. Like you never know who you're going to meet in what room, but as long as you just show your face, you be transparent, do good business. I think that's really what it's all about. And just being friendly and like realizing there's a bigger picture. I think the big thing is like if you just operate, being relational versus transactional, and you attend all these meetups, you talk to people, you be genuine, and just show face and get around town. Like people are gonna start recognizing you. It's the best way to start building something here. And the crazy thing is about Jacksonville is like it's such a big city, but it still feels like such a tight network. You run into a lot of the same people. You're doing deals with a lot of repeat. So just building that from the beginning and, building like trusting relationships is, it's done by going to those networking events. It's done by having organic conversations. Not everything has to be, about a specific deal. That's something that I love. I always tell people, hey, I love talking shop. Like bring a deal to me. If I'm not even involved in it, like let's talk about it. I'll tell you what I see. I'll tell you what I think it needs in work. I'll tell you if it's a deal or not. Like, I'm not out here to get one over on you. Like, I'm genuinely interested, and like, I get joy out of seeing other people win. So that's something that I think like is really nice about Jacksonville. Is it's very oriented and seeing everyone win.
Very like helping, very helping community too. And that's what I said, like with the Jax RIA. I mean, like it was, for us, like I said, we were big with the meetups and the network events in Tampa. And there's a couple of different ones that are in Tampa Bay, but Jacksonville, like I would say Jax RIA is like the biggest, where it's like consistently meeting. They have multiple events going on, and you go and you're like, I remember when we were coming out here, I'm like, okay, not nervous about going out here, but man, this is the first time we're coming into a room full of all new people. Like, how is it gonna be? Like, are they gonna push us away? Are we gonna have to fight our way?
Right.
I'd like to just walk in and shake hands and just say we're coming. And like the old president Mike Grandjean was like, we see this guy in overalls just walking over. Like I'm like, okay, they're like, that's the president right there. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
We found our place. We're good here. We're happy.
Like he's just rocking overalls, and he's like, he had done some deals in the NetWorth office in Houston. I'm like, we had a NetWorth Realty shirt on before we could even say anything. He's like, about time you guys got here. And I'm like, okay, now like, everything
breath of fresh air. We can
breathe a little bit. And everybody was just, super welcoming from like, and even with Maria and Nazreen now being the vice president and president. I mean, they're just so welcome with all the events. And that was for us too. Like we wanted to come in and just be as much of a help as we could, because like for us, if we're doing deals in the community, we're looking to get the Jax community better. And that's like for us too, if the market's doing good and the community's doing amazing, then every real estate investor is going to be winning out there to some sort of extent.
I love
as
that.
development comes in, as people are helping each other, you don't have to necessarily be involved in that one deal, but it's like us, we've had a great experience with you, Al. It's like, if we know somebody that's going through, it's like, we don't need anything, like call Al. Like you don't have to say that we called him or we gave you, just call him and he will help you out, or at least give you an honest opinion. We've worked with him and it just works out, and like it's really helped us too, is where maybe we've helped somebody out and then all of a sudden it comes maybe full circle, or somebody brings us a deal 7 or 8 months later. It's just been awesome to see that.
Yeah, I gotta say, Jacksonville has been amazing. So I came here late 2018 from Miami, and I was a part of a lot of groups there. So first networking experiences were really down in Miami.
Yeah.
But then when I came to Jacksonville, I was like, well, I got to get, acclimated to what the community is here. And really first place was Jack's RIA.
Yeah.
First place was Jack's RIA. Went to one of their meetups. I remember Gonzalo was hosting the room.
No,
this is late 2018. And from there, I mean, the community has been amazing between Jack's RIA, Yellowbird, a lot of the other local meetups that have happened. And then it's spawned off to all these other little local meetups. So I'm really happy you guys were able to come in here, really, you know, get your feet wet, but then really immerse yourself with the amazing community, because I truly believe there's not been a community like Jacksonville's in the real estate industry. I haven't seen it. And it's we're all friends. Like, we're all in real estate doing deals, but it's like we're all friends too. Like, we can all call each other up, like, you know, be like, hey, I got this going on. Hey, I got this going on. It's not like, you know, it's a real warm community. So I'm really glad, because there's a lot of people that they don't know how to take that first step. And everybody thinks that after COVID, you know, they kind of stay more virtual into the social world. So I got to break this down on the internal process with you guys. I find this part of business really interesting. So when I had first started in my law firm, it really was just me and an assistant, right? So there was a business, but it wasn't like the team culture, right? And then as I got busier, we had to start adding on other people. And, you know, now I have a team of 9, whether it's on the law firm side and the marketing side. And so I've had to learn a lot about like team building and team culture and delegation and everything. I love to hear about that with you guys in terms of what it's been like with the team building side and culture. And I want to really start with the culture, because that's where it really begins. Anybody new coming in has to abide by what you all believe in. Have you guys defined what those words and ideas have been about what you guys are in terms of culture and what you expect of others?
Yeah, and that's what I would say. We have our core values, and, you know, when we're sitting down with an interview or we're, you know, looking to meet somebody new, we set those expectations from the front, because you want to make sure that they're, you know, if they don't believe in honor, you want to know that from the beginning. If they're not gonna have grit, you know, and the team culture and self-leadership, like just a couple of the stuff of our core values aren't going to sit well with them, then, you know what, it's probably not going to be maybe necessarily the best fit, you know. And like for us, we're not looking to hire, you know, we're real estate brokers, but we're not looking to hire 100 agents and hope that 10 to 20 of them are out doing deals. You know, we're looking for 15 to 20 committed individuals that are looking to get after it every single day and build a business. And for the first 2 years, put in 5 to 6 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day. And sometimes you could say, you know, you look somebody in the eyes and say, hey, it's going to be 5 to 6 hours or 5 to 6 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day. And you could just see the excitement melt off their face, where it's like, okay, that's probably, you could already tell that they're not even wanting to be here because it doesn't align with them. Right. You know, and when, you know, you're aligned with the right people, the right things happen, you know. And so, you know, I've got another mention, his name's Keith Kraft. And, you know, for us, that's the biggest thing I've gotten from him is your alignment leads to your assignment. You know, you're aligned with the right people, the right things are going to happen, you know. And so you've got agents that are all committed to the bigger purpose coming in for where, you know, everybody's looking to build their business. And with Casey, I mean, it started where on day one we had myself, my wife Claire, Casey was our senior agent, Zach Taji, and then George and Greg started immediately, you know, maybe 2 to 3 weeks after that. So when we came in starting with where we had maybe 3 to 4 agents in the very first month that we were open, to now we've got 11 fully on board, rolling, running their business every day. And where, you know, for us, we say, hey, we're a pull you up the ladder type of team. Like, we're never going to pull up the ladder behind us. You know, hey, if you're in there drowning, we're gonna drag you out of the water and do everything we can, and holding each other to it, where Casey can come in. If maybe he doesn't know something, somebody else in the office can help. Or if another agent in the office doesn't know something, it's not just going to the leadership or management. They can go to Casey or Victoria, or somebody can have a strength where everybody's got their own strengths and they're learning and building off each other constantly, to where nobody's taking offense to where, hey, you know, I know you're doing that call, but maybe use this word as opposed to this word. And as opposed to you getting offended that one of your peers brought that up, you're like, okay, oh, thank you for letting me know. And then you try the call, and what do you know? It ends up working on the next one. So you've got everybody around constantly, you know, iron sharpens iron, building each other, growing it from the inside. And when you've got amazing core values, where, you know, we did get that from Keith Kraft, it's really taken our business to a whole nother level.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like reinforcing that culture when you can really help the others, because then they're going to pass that down to the ones that come on after them or out in the world, right? Like it's all the reputation part of this too.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys want to be known for what good work you all are doing. And by the way, that alignment word has been a huge word for me a lot lately, not just on the business end, but the personal side, because I think if you can't get the personal side aligned with what you believe in, then it translates into business. So you have to
100%.
first start aligning yourself with the right people that want to level up, want to be successful, want to make money, want to do the right thing, have integrity, have ethics, right? And you really have to start doing that on the personal level so that can really get to the business side of it,
100%.
because what you do in both really speaks volumes about yourselves,
How
right?
you treat one thing, it's going to evolve right to the other. And, I think you could tell it too, just from even, you got to see the culture in Tampa to now how we've built it here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just such like, even on the fun side, it's just a fun place to be. And I think that's like, especially we do hire a lot of people where this is their first job. It is their first career. So just telling them, hey, not every opportunity is like this. Like just, repainting that picture of like, hey, you have an amazing opportunity. You're working with a team. And, one of the guys in our office, like he still says it, I think every week, like he walks in just out of the blue. He's like, I still, to this day, I think this is the best team in Jacksonville. I truly believe that. Like he lives by that, and like instilling that in, the entire office, and having everyone realize that, the core values are what we operate by and what we live by. It ends up, showing tenfold in like the results that we have. So,
and to do it too, like then the ones that have maybe worked another scene, or, for like I worked at a great cubicle where, I had an internship that showed me I did not want to do that. He's at his job where it's like, man, this is not as enjoyable. Like the working world is not as all it seems to be. Where we've had people that have maybe were in that setting before that are like, yeah, I want to make something better for myself. I want to be, taking a leap or jumping into it where I'm not just coming in and punching the clock every day. I can actually do the work that I put in is what I'm going to get out of it.
Yeah, they want to level up.
They want to level up. So you've got, 11 agents that are all committed to leveling up and growing every day. It's an incubator for greatness, So it's like everybody's just coming in wanting to be great, striving to be great. The energy's flowing. People are excited to be there. Yeah. And it just makes it, awesome to be around. And, the team is, it doesn't just start with Casey, it ebbs and flows. So it's like from when you come in, whether you're the newest person that's just been hired to whether you helped us open the office on day one, like you need to be living by that culture, living it up, like bringing the energy, doing the exact same thing, where you don't need to be, just because you came in a year later after we opened doesn't make you not a leader. It doesn't make you not to have leadership type practices where, you can, I always say you never want to be the temperature. You always want to be the thermostat.
I like that.
You control the temperature around you. Like if you got to bring the energy up, you got to do it. If you got to, you're about to have that heated phone call, relax, calm the tone down and cool it down and bring it out there,
Very cool. What about team training? Are you guys doing weekly things, or are you doing like on the spot training for things? Because like even in my practice, it gets difficult to do like weekly trainings, as opposed to like if something comes up, we then address it right then and there. But are you guys doing monthly, weekly? Are you taking them out somewhere?
I'll say Casey's one of our trainers, and when everybody starts, they go through a 5W training. So like
so we have a 5-week process where it's like drinking water out of a fire hose. It's, like the term we say. It's everything, and like we just always say like, hey, asking questions is the best possible thing, because while I'm still doing my training, I'm still running and gunning and doing my business. So I'm like, hey, if it seems like I'm doing a million things, I can do a million and one. So like, ask me that question, we can handle it all. But it's really just the first 5 weeks, we're holding your hand, showing you how to vet buyers, how to analyze deals, how to walk a property, how to analyze rehabs, the process of selling and buying deals, the whole nine. And, once we feel that you've reached a comfortability in the basics of the business, we kind of let you out to running your own meetings, going out in the field by yourself. But that first 5 weeks, you're, riding with me or another, agent in the business, and just seeing what the day-to-day is like, and seeing what, someone is doing day to day.
It's not like the questions ever end or ever stop. Too.
Yeah,
like
I still ask him questions every day, if not 10 to 12,
And, so it's like, you could have a question, or we feel maybe has similar questions coming up frequently where we'll do a Saturday training. We'll go through, like, I feel like even there's a lot of times investors don't know how to run hard money numbers to like, even where like, if we have our agents well versed on even from the financing to the construction to, we'll even go out to a house and go, all right, let's look through and take an hour or two and just see, hey, exactly what's going to go into this property just based off of the construction. Like I can tell you from when we met, like, roofing was between like $250 and $350 a square. It's now at like $600 to $750 a square.
That is insane.
And it's like, maybe you find a good roofer, but people's businesses changes. It's like, that's where it's even had to adapt for us, where we have to train on that. We have to let them know, like, hey, things are going to change and pivot. Like materials are going to change and pivot. Values are going to change and pivot. We show them how to see that, how to look at it, how to put something together where they can talk about it with other people. It's going to help them go a lot further.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And that all comes with time. And I think that's the big thing, is like letting everyone realize that. Because like, there's just so much information and different variables that come in this business where it's like, even if you've been there for 2-3 months, like you think you know something, but you still really don't. Like you're still learning so much. And the biggest way you learn is just by doing deals and doing business. And it all just kind of comes into place. And like you said, you're always learning. So
yeah.
You got to fail. You got to fall on your face.
Right.
Yeah. As long as you get back up and maybe you just fall a little less hard as you did before. Fail a little bit less. Just keep building on it, because it's gonna happen. You're not gonna do it perfectly. And I think knowing that and setting the expectation of it, it's okay to fail. It's okay to mess up that phone call. You don't need to be. It's not like we're sitting there like scoring their calls.
Right.
It's like we're going, hey, try this next time. Like it's all right.
Yeah. And in that leadership role too, it's tough, because you have to be a constant learner, constantly educate yourself, and also be able to really talk about with the team what they need to know, what they have to know, and also get the feedback back from the team as well. Like that leadership role just can translate to so many things throughout the team, and then the way that they operate, the energy that they bring. So that's been, I'm sure, huge for you guys. Talk about too, like, are you getting into things with delegation and learning and teaching the team about like how to delegate the tasks, or you guys learning about yourselves about, hey, there's got to be these things that I just can't take on. We got to get somebody for this, and getting it off your plate, but also finding the right person to be able to pass that too.
Yeah. And we have a lot too. And like, to be the best, the greatest leader, you got to be a great follower too. Like you got to know that when you're a leader, you can't just stop learning. Just because you're now leading a team doesn't mean that you figured it out. Like you're constantly always figuring things out, trying new things, reading books, so I still have mentors and coaches to this day. It's like, why, just because you get to one area doesn't mean that you do need to stop having a coach in life, And so having that and having somebody to rely on is huge. And just in my opinion, with personal growth and self-development. And with the delegation too, like that's where we're really teaching them like organization. Like your first deal, you're thinking like, oh my God, like there's a million things going on. It's going, is it blowing up? Is it not? Like, and it's like a lot of times it could even just be thinking that it's something's going wrong. But nothing's going on. Everything's going pretty smooth. So just getting the at bats where over time they're learning, they're feeling organized to where their month where they do their first deal, they could have 6 months where then they're doing 5 deals and they're like, oh, that month I did 5 was way easier than when I did the 1. I thought the world was ending when I was doing, or they're, they get the call from like the title company. It's like, oh, it's going to need probate. And they're like, what's probate? And just knowing like, how long does it take? Like, and we're teaching them and growing. And, for us too, like with, teach them how to fish as opposed to just give them the fish. So for us, we have a transaction coordinator named Shelby Mills. Shout out Shelby. But Shelby worked for me as just my assistant and helped me handle just things in just my business in Tampa for about 2-3 years prior to us coming out here. And she now handles everything from sending earnest money to making sure everything is delegated and help with like teachings and making sure all contracts are buttoned up. And I'm sure you could see it out too. Somebody will send you a contract and you're like, this thing's not even executed.
I'm like, what is this? What is this thing?
You're telling me under contract, but you're missing 4 signatures.
Yeah, I go through that all the time.
For us, we're it's teaching that where a lot of these agents, they've never seen the FAR bar as is. They've never seen what a contract looks like. We're teaching them and having Shelby eventually to help them where they can delegate the paperwork, where they can still be running and gunning out doing deals, but they need to know how to do it before you can utilize Shelby and get it to the next level. And as things, as you have that knowledge, it makes it easier to grow and do and the whole nine. And I think, you can even talk about like driving as well too.
Yeah. Like something, that I did to help my business, like delegation wise, is like driving it eats up so much of my time. So I pay someone $15 an hour, a buddy of ours, to drive for me during the day. So,
there you go.
Just for like 4 to 5 hours a day, he drives. That way I'm able to get all those minimal tasks done, keep paperwork in line, send offers, and just like do more inputs. That way it's more time put into my business, and we've calculated out like spending the $15 an hour just exponentially helps me in what I earn. So it's the cash on cash return on it.
Of course.
It wins every time. So, I think that's the thing, is just finding things in your business that can like assist with you. But for, just touching on what Riley said, like in the beginning, just having everyone know like how exactly a real estate transaction goes and learning all that to a T before you start kind of delegating some of those tasks, because, you may have the super easy cash closing, but it's your first closing. You don't know what's going on, but it could be the easiest transaction of your life. But, learning it, every transaction is going to be different, between lenders, crazy sellers,
all the
derailed real estate agents, like there's so many different types of
rogue ones.
The agent that advanced her commission check and she didn't schedule her seller. There's all different types of things. So
you gotta love it.
There's where's the money?
Yeah.
And we're closing 4 days from now.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So it'll temper things down like temporarily.
And I think that's the big thing too with like the delegation, and like in the beginning it helps you learn how to balance your business. Like before you can delegate, learning how to balance your business and learning to be solution oriented before you start delegating. Because I think for us, and like the biggest thing about like our company is we're very solution oriented. We always just look to make things work and just do it right. So once you learn how to do that in different ways, and like you said, like, we're going to show you how to be solution oriented before we just go and do it for you. We're going to give you the keys to success and show you how to operate before you start, passing off some of those tasks. So
very cool. I love what's going on here with the internal processes. Like this is great stuff that a lot of people can learn from. Right? Because a lot of people, they're doing real estate, they're doing sales, but what is this? It's a business. Like there's all these other things that you got to focus on. So it's a whole other animal. What about software that you all have implemented? Because I think more than ever, people need to start implementing that to help them with their systems and processes and maybe delegation. What are you all seeing?
And I'll talk about like we have our own CRM. So like NetWorth Realty.
You say why NetWorth? Like this is a big reason.
We have our own
NetWorth,
software.
we have our own
like I said,
software.
we have everything goes in. It's inputted through it. From our marketing to all the contacts. To sending out a deal to uploading contracts. Like you could see too. I'm sure like when you see stuff from us or gets looped in, like it's very implement. Like we have stuff where like email, we upload something, it'll send an email to everybody if we've got it attached to it. So where it's like it's eliminating that one less step for maybe an agent where they've got it executed. They don't have to necessarily make the email, they just have to upload it, do it, and our system will do it a little bit for you at the end of the day.
Cool. Yeah.
So then NetWorth's like, shout out to the three Jimmys, the three founders of our company. I mean, they started this company in the midst of 2008, right after the, financial crisis. And it's taken from where it was just 3 offices in Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston to we're now 36 markets and developing a software. And the software's only gotten better and better over time. And it's as, agents need stuff or people are doing more deals or things are changing in the market. They've constantly put more money into it and just to help our markets out. So can't thank them enough to even without them paving the way, like we wouldn't be here doing, even on this podcast right now.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, at least you guys have that already implemented. So you're not having to like start from scratch or like, get
Work
some
out
other
of a Google sheet.
Yeah, Google sheet, Excel spreadsheet. Like,
which I love me a good Google sheet.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Old school right there.
Dude, I love me a good Google sheet, but
Yeah. So, one other thing about internal processes is like new hires. What do you guys look for in new hires?
And just kind of like a hunger or drive, and like that's the same thing. Like if you're bought into the core values, you're excited about wanting to come in and do it. Like I said, we've got so many different people from servers and shapes, sizes, colors, backgrounds. I mean, it's like it really, as long as you're coming in, you're striving to be an amazing person and look to build a business and want to get after it. Know like, hey, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be a little bit tough in the beginning, but you're willing to work through it and be bought in and have that energy. That's the biggest thing. Like if you're fitting with our culture, that's going to be the biggest thing. Like if you're already being negative in an interview, that's going to be a little bit of a red flag of like, okay, so you had 15 other jobs and it was always the job's fault of why you're not there anymore. Okay. Is that necessarily going to be the best fit? And like sometimes that could be the case where they are and sometimes it's not, so really just looking for someone that will fit into our culture where they can come in and run our playbook. Like I said, they could work for another company, had another profession, had another background, and their playbook might have been amazing, but we have our own playbook. And for us, like I said, we played football. Like you're not going to run the New England Patriots playbook if you play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're just not going to. You're not going to.
Totally different realm.
Totally different realm. Like if you, you worked for like another real estate brokerage, you may have learned things, but it's not the network the way. It's not what we have going. So as long as you can come in, adapt, run the play. That's going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah. What about fun activities? Are you guys doing are you taking them out for golf or mini golf or go-karts or
trip to Miami?
Going to the Fontainebleau, going to the club.
We did what do we go live? We went to live in Miami, but we did
actually go to Miami.
We hit it.
All jokes aside.
We hit an incentive with the office, so like for us, we cleared out. We took the whole office down to Miami, spent a weekend down there, did a nice dinner at Komodo.
Oh wow!
Did had a yacht day where we just hung out and we got to celebrate the best month that we had and came back and got right to it. So like for us too, it's a culture of hard work and fun all at the same time. Like I said, for us, everybody's working towards a common thing, and if we're a number one team with and we're the number one office with NetWorth Realty, it's not like the slice of the pie gets thinner and thinner. Everybody's slice gets bigger and bigger because Casey can't look at every house in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You can't look at every house in Jacksonville. I can't. Like, the team we have, the more that we can divide and conquer and get stuff done. So you've got people that are divvying it up, and we're getting more and more out there. It adds to it. So, we'll do incentive trips like that. We also do NetWorth Realty. There's a Top Gun trip where if you're the top 25 agents in the company, you get to go on like an all-paid-for trip with the other top 25 agents to like an international location. So Casey went number 6 in the company last year, so we got to take him and Hannah, his girlfriend, to Cabo San Lucas with the rest of the company and just enjoy it for a couple days, have a great time with some of the other top performers and go and have a good time. And we'll do some horse races too. Like there's a couple other big company trips that NetWorth does between all the offices, but we'll also do some incentives with the other Florida markets just because we work to know all those, guys and gals as well too. So do like a horse race where the top 2 teams get to go to Miami or, go do a staycation somewhere. Casey, he had an increment where he did 10 deals. So we sent him out to Boston with him and Hannah and just had a good weekend. So, and just things too, like I said, the agents want to hang out and do stuff together. Like last year we tailgated and took everybody to the opening Jags games with the Chiefs.
Oh, that's
last
cool.
year. So we tailgated, got a couple spots, had cornhole, TV set up, just grilling out, having a good time, and just building everything from within.
That had to be so fun.
Yeah, and just touching on more of it's not even like things we're doing. It's just like the time that we spend together. It kind of becomes like the NetWorth team is my friends and family. Like it's fun. It's who I hang out with. Whether it's at work, outside of work, like even the Luke Combs concert last weekend, I had some extra tickets and, the tickets, I ended up going with a bunch of the guys and, their significant others. So, I want to spend time with the team and, I think they kind of all reciprocate the same feelings. So, like the time outside of work, we're getting dinner with the team, we're going grabbing a drink with the team. we're going to a sporting event with the team. Like it's all just kind of time that we spend together. So
yeah,
it's not forced.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, mini golf. It's like, no, let's go to Miami. Let's go to Live. Let's go to the horse race. Let's go to, the opening game. Cause like that's really where that massive relationship collaboration happens. 100%. Right. I love that. I love that. We'll keep going on that side of things. Right. I think that's really inspiring. And like, it'd be even great to see you guys do content on the internal side of it. Like, hey, this is what we're doing on this side. Like that just helps so many people out there. Away from the internal, there's the whole external, right? It's great doing the business. Like, where are the deals, right? Where's the magic happening? And I think for both of you, the secret sauce, the strategies, the ways that you're tackling these deals, you're going after the messy stuff. You're going after the ones that are distressed. You're going after all this. Talk to us about these deals. Like, what are you looking for? What are you going after? What types of criteria are you looking for?
Yeah, really just anything. And you're putting a million lines in the water. And, for us to we've done so much business because we do a lot of probate deals as well too. And I know just to kind of tell a funny story. I remember I said, Al and I actually, we met from, investor I had sold properties to in Tampa. And we're just talking about, she was buying a deal that she had found off herself, off her direct marketing. And, I had dealt with a couple probate deals before. And, I think they had all taken 6+ months. Just, you call the attorney, nobody ever answers. You're just like, oh my gosh, it's just thing after thing after thing. And Viviana, she goes oh yeah, I've got this great attorney. He's he's doing it in 4 weeks. And I'm like, stop lying to me. You're Viviana, you're pulling my leg. There's just no way. And it literally closed in 4 weeks. And I was like, Viviana, I need to meet this guy. And that guy is Al Nicoletti, which we are on your show now today. And we have continued to use you over the years. And we actually met in person at a dinner party at Viviana and Peter's house and just continue to do deals and work from there. And I'm like, it actually works, and then we kept doing stuff and we connected with other agents where, it wasn't even maybe just me necessarily working on the transaction, but it could have been another agent where all of a sudden then you're in every NetWorth Tampa agent's pocket. You're in every NetWorth Jacksonville agent's pocket. It's not because maybe they've necessarily done a probate. It's because somebody else, Casey did a probate and they're like, oh, it only took XYZ. So then the agent, when they get, they're like, oh yeah, we have this guy. We know him. They may have never even talked to you before, but they're just, going in and talking it out. But thank you for making it easy when it does come to the messy stuff and tracking it down. And, with that, what deals you're looking for is obviously anything that's distressed or, it's the kids live in Kentucky and the parents lived in Jacksonville. And they've never seen the house. They've never seen the property from, absentee owners to landlords that are looking to just cash out or just dump the property. They aren't looking to do repairs into it, boarded up windows, the whole nine. And I feel like there's even a lot of stuff too with just being out there driving for dollars, seeing these neighborhoods where we're actually here local, looking through all these properties. We're not, if we offer on a property, we've seen it with our own eyes where we looked at it, put a rehab together and then offer on the property. So it could even be just driving the neighborhood and you're like, okay, that's a NetWorth house right there. And it might not be on a list. It might not be hitting absentee or it might not be hitting probate, but really just anything that's going to need a little bit of love into it. We're just hitting that from every angle.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I gotta say, I love working with you guys. I am so happy that we connected 3 years ago. Got to meet at the dinner party. I mean, what a time that was then. One thing for me, I keep reflecting on this because it's just amazing to see progress. It's amazing how much things just change in 1 year. And then you look back 3 years, you're like, what was that? What was going on even then? Who was that? Right. And it's just always so great to work with investors and realtors and that get what's going on. They get 100%. The process. They understand that, hey, there's a value add with something like this on the expert side. There's a value add with the relationships and the fact that we can all get these things done together. And then the community coming together, talking about is really huge. So I just want to say thank you guys for that. No, thank you. This is what it's all about, right? It's all about the community and connections. When it comes to probate and all these messy deals, you know, it's one thing to go find the deal. It's one thing to spot the deal, but then it's another thing to solve it. And you got the experts, you got the title company, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that you guys see, maybe stories you've been through, that get crazy. Like, how are you all approaching the messy deal?
Well, I mean, it's, you know, we're not going to know everything, but we want to try to know everybody, you know, and that's where it's like, sometimes a deal may get hard where somebody at some point in time, another agent, another investor just stops in their tracks and goes like, I'm just not dealing with this anymore, as opposed to just pushing forward and asking more questions or divvying up, going like, hey, where can we go find that error? Can we go dig deep into it? Like, do we need to go and, you know, knock on somebody's door and see if we can go and find what we're looking for? And I think it's really just being like solution oriented with it, you know, and just even with like a crease. So like the first probate I ever did was in Clearwater, Florida. The seller passed away like 3 days before closing.
Wow.
So it goes into probate. We then go through the 3-4 month long probate. There's then 6 heirs. It was all her, you know, all of her heirs. They're also extremely old. Then 4 days before closing, one of the heirs passes away. So then we have to go through another double probate. And then all of a sudden there's now 9 heirs on this deed in this HUD that we have to sign. And everybody's just like, including the heirs, was like, we need to sign immediately and get everything we need to work fast to get this all done and like end up getting closed, and it all worked out, you know. So it's like even just sticking with it of like, you know, so we might see that happen. It's like, all right, I'm giving up on this thing, and end up being, you know, a great deal for the investor and working out for us and the whole nine. And, you know, we're able to help that seller situation out of where they just want, you know, those Niners, they did not care about. They just wanted it gone off to be where it would, you know, that house could have easily just kept becoming a problem. Over as people continue to pass away. And, you know, it would have just kept getting divvied up. Next thing you know, there could be 20 heirs on that property, you know, and it just kind of goes from there. And I think you've got one that you're working through right now.
Yeah, with the one we're working on here together. And, you know, it all kind of just comes to being solution oriented. And, you know, the situation was, you know, we thought we had a good contract, you know. I got the deal from someone I've done a few deals with, and, you know, I immediately checked the tax records, and it said estate of, and the mother's name. And, you know, I let him know. It's like, hey, like, is this the only guy? He goes, oh, well, he said we're good. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Like, this is going to need probate. So, you know, we get it over to title. Turns out there's a brother. You know, just to fastly talk about it. These two brothers, they despise each other. They haven't talked in, I think, a decade or two. One brother's, you know, refusing to sign, wants nothing to do with us. I end up finding, you know, getting his number back from the person I was working with. You know, I start being in direct relations with him, just lay everything out on the table. It's also in pre-foreclosure. So it's just, when you talk about messy deals, it's got a little sprinkle of just a bit of everything. And, you know, this guy's got me jumping through hoops, wants me mailing him paper contracts. I mail him everything, and then I get blocked like 3 days later. The guy friended me on Facebook too, so I was like, all right, let me message him on Facebook. He blocked me on there too. Wow. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Good thing I have a second phone number, so called him off that one. And, you know, hey, you know, John Smith, you know, what's going on, man? Yeah. And he's like, oh, well, I'm not an idiot, you know. I blocked you because you didn't send me the hard copy. You know, I wanted the original copy, and just had to lay it out to him. I was like, man, like, you got me jumping through hoops. I mailed you everything. Like, if this is how it's going to be, like, we'll just let that house get foreclosed on, and, you know, we'll go about it that way. Like, no one will get paid. It's whatever. Like, we're not going to, you know, pursue this anymore. And surely enough, he ends up signing, and then, you know, that's where you come in, and turns out there's being another deceased sibling. So we are currently hunting down 2 more signatures, which hopefully we'll be getting back today.
You gotta love this game, right? It's so exciting all the time.
Yeah. So and that's the thing. It's like we had spoken with them before, and, you know, they had both said that they are the only 2, you know, siblings, and one more call just ends up finding out there's a few more heirs. So, you know, that's where, like, most people would give up, but just kind of sticking with it and just trying to be solution oriented, because at the end of the day, no one wins if, you know, the house gets foreclosed on. So that's kind of the thing too, is just letting the sellers know, like, hey, we're here to help you. You know, I'm not here to pull teeth. If you feel like your teeth are being pulled, let me know, and we'll work on something, you know. I'll mail you the contract. I'll go get stamps. I'll do the whole 9 for you. I'll cater to what you're looking for, but we gotta, at the end of the day, we're a team. Right. That's the thing, is letting people know, hey, in these transactions, you want to sell, we want to buy. We're working together. So letting people know that's one of my favorite lines that he always says. When something's going weary, he goes, remember, they want to sell and we want to buy. Like, there's a commonality here, and that's what the end goal everyone's working towards. So
just get right to that point. Find that semblance right there of what that is.
Like, baby, it's okay.
So,
we're on the same team here. We're on the same team.
Oh, I gotta tell you. So about that deal, what's really cool for me on my side is it's always great to see everybody getting the education of learning more about the messy side, because just when you think and then there ends up being more, it's so hard even for me to like say, hey, here's a family decision tree, and like, just follow because everybody's got something crazy going on. And then on the call, you're hearing, hey, it's not just 2, there's a third, and the third one died before the owner. So now where are those kids? And it's like, and so then you hear the sellers, they get silent, because it's like, all these people are involved. It's going to get messy. And to the one that you had, there was a crazy one 3 years ago where I wasn't even involved. They were going to try to get me involved. It was already an open case. There was a PR appointed. It was a homestead property, and there were 23 beneficiaries. And and the investors said, they called me because they were like, hey, I would love to get you in, but there's already a lawyer on. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? They said, well, here's the question. The title company's saying we only need the PR. Do you think we just need the PR, or do we need all 23? And I said, guys, listen, I've been through this so many times. For homestead, you're going to need all 23. And they were like, what? No way. I hope you're wrong on it. Fast forward like 2 months later, they called me and they were like, Al, you're never going to believe it. And I was like, what? We need all 23. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, exactly. And then I was like, all right, so, go get 23. He goes, there's a problem. I'm like, what happened? He said, 2 just died. And I'm like, here we go. Yeah. Had you had, the right experts involved and, gotten with them beforehand, it would have changed the whole thing. And then they couldn't get that thing closed for 18 months after that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I get what you guys are going through. I get the messy stuff.
What would you say the most like intense has been? Because like I can't even fathom 23. Like that's like more than 23 after those 2 died. I can't even fathom. What's like the most intense, probate or like signatures needed that you've probably seen? Would you say that one's up there?
That's got to be up there. Probably not one that I've been on. I'd say the number of probates was 6, but there only ended up being 3 heirs total, which kind of made things really easy.
Right. Okay.
But probably if there was one I was on was like 10.
Yeah.
And I remember this was when I was at the other firm, and I remember like we couldn't get like a couple of the people. So I went in the office on a Saturday and I said, I'm done. Like, we're going to get the signatures or this isn't happening. And I went one by one. I was like, you signing? And I remember there was 10 of them. There was the last one. And he ended up being, I think he was like the nephew. And it's like, first of all, he wasn't even expecting to get anything. And then as soon as he found out he was getting something, he wanted like all of it, right? That's how it always goes, right? Yeah. Oh, I'm making $1 million now. And so once he found out, all of a sudden he was like, well, we're gonna bring it to the lawyer. We're gonna do this. I'm thinking like, what lawyer? What person? And I was like, all right, go do your thing, because otherwise it's not gonna happen. And you know what? 15 minutes later, he signed. So you never know with these messy deals what's gonna happen. But that was probably the craziest one. Yeah. We've seen ones that get litigated that get crazy. We saw one 4 years ago that was just nobody was on the same page. But one thing I've definitely learned, and I talk about this at all the presentations, is that a lot of people don't realize, I'm sure you guys can talk about this, is some of the messiest deals can be your biggest deals, your biggest spread, not the $20,000 one, like the 80, the 70. And that's the game changer in the business. Like, have you guys seen that the messy deals, the ones that people are not going after, are like the money hits?
Yeah, and we've seen it too, where even it's like time helps us as well too, where, you know, it's going through probate, the market appreciated. We saw a lot of that during, you know, like the market craze, like post-COVID or like during the COVID, whatever you want to call that time period of where rates were extremely low, like where you go through it, you know, we're under contract, you know, we don't put it out, we look to sell it or anything, and all of a sudden the market appreciates and ends up being, just because we stuck with it, ends up being a phenomenal deal, you know, and everything always, you know, works out. And even too, like where it's the messiest one, maybe it doesn't lead to making money on that deal, but it makes it to we're making money on 10 to 15 deals in the future because we did it with that relationship, or we did it with that seller, where it ends up being where maybe we didn't make it on that one, or maybe it was, but I've even seen it where, okay, we made it small on that one, we stuck with the messy one, we end up getting it back on another deal that's just a layup and ends up being super easy. They're like, you stuck with us on the hard one, here's the next 2 to 3 easy ones, where it's like, boom, done, we'll close in 2 weeks, and those are phenomenal as well too, where it's really just like a relationship game, where if you're performing and you're doing it, like you want to know that like, hey, like we have the means to, like, you know, we have our own capital, we actually close on these properties where we can come in and actually close on the deal at the end of the day. And that's like where we were on one where we were talking about the email, where it's like, this thing is like, it's just nobody like fully knows anything, and like the title was like, you know, we're getting it from somebody, and they're saying like, oh yeah, no, everything's fine. And I'm like, it just doesn't sound fine. I called their title company, and they're like, the title company was like, nothing is fine. Like everything is wrong. And I'm like, I gotta go back. Yeah, they just told me it's fine. Oh, well, yeah, I never talked to him. I'm like, well, then why are you telling me it's fine? Then you end up coming helping out with the probate, which I'm like, hey, do you know Al Nicoletti? They're like, oh yeah, we already reached out to him. You're working on it. This thing is just dragging on for probably like, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months. You know, we held off on it, and all of a sudden, like, I think you said you were wrapping up, or like you wrapped up like that day. And then like we get an email. It's like, hey, can we close tomorrow? And I'm just like, absolutely not. Like, what are you like, there's just no way that this has just been gone for 4 months. We don't even know when the closing's going to happen. You're just like, yeah, Al said it's good. We're closing tomorrow. And then I call you, I call the title company attorney, and they're like, yeah, there's no way we can close tomorrow. There's just absolutely like, where it's like, people are just so pushing to like get it done, where it's like, it doesn't necessarily always work like that. Like, it's not just instantaneous of where like, okay, you're wrapping up, you're just giving an update. Doesn't mean that we can close with marketable title. Like, you got to give everybody enough time to just get these things done, and they get done at the end of the day. You know? And that's where, for us, like I said, we've gotten deals from that title company now. We've gotten deals from the person we bought the deal from. You know, we've continued to work with us, where it's like, okay, the deal has just worked. It was like a messy one. It's like everybody's on the same page with getting it closed. Obviously, a couple people were wanting it to close yesterday, and we can't close yesterday. We can close in a week, and everybody's good to go. But it's still the end goal. Everybody just wants to get it done at the end of the day.
Yeah. I got really excited when I saw him on the back end of the deal, because like I didn't know at first, right? Like I'm working on the probate, I'm just doing my thing. Me and Christina are working on this, and all of a sudden like Riley's email pops, and I was like, oh, thank goodness Riley's on the deal.
Was it here in Jax? It was, yep. It was here in Jax.
What zip code?
09.
Okay.
I was just
recent.
Somewhat.
Grand Park?
This year, yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was so happy.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I was so happy because, like, you know, it's so good that we all work together. Like, we all are on the same page. And it's like, hey, this is what's going on. These are the expectations. Like, there's there's no way it can happen, but everybody's talking. And so I was so happy when I saw you on it, Riley. I was like, yes, we're good. I'm happy. I'm moving on to my other files right now.
And that's how we want it to be too, where it's like, it's us, where you see it's our holding companies, the buyer. It's like, you want it to know, like, we're going to be the solution oriented person. Like, we'll be, even though like it may not be in our means, or like some people may be like, well, I'm not getting paid to hunt that person now. It's like, we think of it like we're getting paid to hunt that person. Like, it's not going to close if like we're not there to be a helping hand. And maybe you do need us, maybe you don't need us, but we still want to know, like, hey, we're gonna be cooperative. We're gonna work good. We're gonna understand. Like, we want title done the right way too. That's the other thing. Like, there's been so many times where you see, or like a title company closes something, and then it's just things need to get worked backwards. I think that might even happen on that one, whereas something gets recorded incorrectly, or there's a fix, or like title was done from the past 2 transactions incorrectly, and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, this is just going to be a headache, but you know, we'll stick with it and we'll work it out. You know, it will close at the end of the day if it's a matter of just getting it done the right way.
Right. And I'm sure you guys can attest to like the fact of, having that great title company and that rapport, because you don't want any surprises coming up later, right? And especially when you get a messy deal, you don't want to find out that it's going to need all these other issues, all these liens, phantom mortgages, or like one that I just saw recently. You know, we all think it's one mortgage and there's a second mortgage on it. And now, like, how does that affect the deal with the payoff and then the lender? And then is it going back up for auction? All these like little things that pop up that happen. What about something you mentioned earlier too, like even dealing with the city liens and stuff like that? Like, have you guys tried to build more relationships with the people downtown, whether it's code enforcement, city council, whatever?
Yeah, and Casey's done a phenomenal job. Just like a lot of times too. Like, I mean, there was one day. I mean, we got one that's just we're dealing with a couple nasty ones with the city right now. But it's like, okay, a lot of times you call a city and get like 9 different answers from 9 different people. Yeah. But you know, like it's just calling and like hoping somebody picks up, or you know, you get that. You call in, it's like, all right, press option 1 for this. And then you press option 1, it goes right to a voice. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to call again and press option 2. Like, I don't even listen to what the options are. I'm just pressing them until I get connected with somebody. And if it's not the right person, hopefully they pass us through. And I mean, you've had to do that too. Like,
and that's a big thing is like with the city, like there's select people there that are going to help you. Like, I hate to say that. I don't want to bash the city, like help us out here. But you know, finding like direct lines for people within those certain divisions and people that are just going to pick up right away and give you a direct answer. Because nothing's worse, you know, you think you got a code issue and you're like, you call into code, they're like, oh, well, this is a compliance issue. What's the difference? And then you get bounced to another department. They're like, oh, well, this is actually in permitting. And permitting is like, no, that's a code issue. And then you call back to code and they're like, yeah, well, I'm not really sure. My supervisor's not here right now. And it's like, so finding the right people to talk to that are going to give you direct answers. And that's something we always try to find. And once you get those like direct people to talk to within the city, or, you know, even on the legal side, like talking to someone like you or a strong title company, you know, finding those contacts that are going to shoot you straight is like the biggest thing. Cause we even see that when, I mean, we get deals where people are like the probate's done and we've been under contract for 6 months. You know, and it's like, it's still not, you know, there. And you get an email, hey, I think we're ready to close. And then you call a title company, hey, we're so far from closing. Like, so and that's the thing is like educating.
It's so fun.
It's educating the other people that you work with of like, hey, like, you know, things need to be done in certain ways, you know, seeking the right, you know, you talk about being like expert advice, like sometimes going with the expert is better than the friend or person, you know, and just, you know, being able to like supply those resources is what makes, you know, this world go round.
We bought one in Avondale that, again, like he had inherited, it was like his best friend's house, but they used like their buddy attorney that they knew in high school like 20 years ago, and he works for some big firm. He's just like doing it on the side and like closing something. I don't think he ever got the phone call through to him. I don't think he ever called him back with like asked him a question. He just like closing and working it out. But like this summer was just so frustrated, the fact that like, all right, this is his buddy, he's doing it for the discount, the friend 99. You know, like, you know, it's like hey, and he was like asked him like, so like, hey man, was the friend 99 discount like worth it to like do it? Like, and he had already like started and everything was already going through by the time we met him. He was like, man, I'm just so frustrated. Like, I just, you know, thought I was just saving money for the estate, and like, cause he was the one like handling everything. And it's like, okay, maybe that extra, you know, $1,000, $2,000 might have gone a long way, or less of a headache to make sure stuff's getting done the right way, you know?
Yeah. I feel like those are the best testimonials for other people. Yeah. Right? Because it's like when you talk to somebody else that's going to go through that kind of situation, they're going, oh, no, I'll use just somebody that we know in the town. It's like, why don't you give this person a call so you can get their experience from what they just went through? You know, I feel like that's the best kind of testimonial for it. But the messy deals, I can tell you, like, even I've seen it on other people, like they're profitable deals. There's just a lot of, you know, you got to walk through things. I always tell people now, expect the unexpected. And then that's the expectation you should have. It's like, you know, don't think it's so cookie cutter. Like, but these are gonna be deals that you can absolutely 100%. Like make money on and capitalize on for sure. Guys, this has been so fun to talk about this stuff. Like I'm having a great time just like getting into all the nitty gritty, like the strategies, everything. You know, what I do towards the end of my show, I talk about things that get into some signature questions, things that we didn't prep on, we didn't even cover in any onboarding. And I do this just to see what your authentic answers are with this stuff. So one thing I'd love to know about you guys is personally, professionally, what routines do you guys follow? I think a lot of investors, for them to go high volume and to be able to perform at a high level all the time, have to implement routines for themselves. What do each of you do for that?
I'll answer first because I think we might have similar answers, so I want to get it out first.
We are related.
Time blocking for me is like the biggest thing. So setting aside like times where I'm doing certain tasks rather than like trying to hit certain numbers is like my biggest go-to, because in the business that we work in, everything is ever changing. You may have something come up and you got to run, but like as long as you still have that time blocking in place, it kind of gives you at least a guide for your day, because things are always going to change. You might get a super hot lead where you screw that time block, I'm out of the office and I got to go.
Yeah.
But the rest of your day is still scheduled and oriented, and that's really what helps me stay on pace. So, having set times where I'm doing, in-office meetings, calls, I'm out in the field doing offers, back in the office, finishing paperwork, and then, resting at night, it's all of that being set in stone. That's what helps me stay sane, so.
Yeah, and too, like you said, with it, like I said, there's not like, wake up at 5 a.m., go to the gym. Like, it's a lot of it, too. Like, it's very ever-changing, and that's where, like, for me, I use Google Calendar for everything. Like, this is the way I had on. It's on my Google Calendar because, you know what? I could wake up Thursday morning and not fully remember, or if I could be looking for my schedule the next day on Wednesday night, if I don't have it plugged in there, there's a million and one things going on that you want to know and be organized and be on top of things. So, like, just having that, and for us, we're in the office every day, typically before 8 a.m. We have our morning meetings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with the entire team. We have different meetings set up, like, with the team as well, too, where it's, like, it's regimented on, like a daily or every, couple day basis, to where we know what's going on. We know what things that we already have blocked out. But as you're going in the middle of the day, like I said, things are gonna blow up. You're gonna have to get on that phone call, or, all the deals are going to shit, like it's just everything was blowing up, like, and like, you got to delegate and you got to figure out, hop on this phone call, on that. Next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock at night, and maybe you haven't hit a bunch of those things that you planned on doing, but having it where it's written down, you got to get it done. You may just need to adapt and switch.
Right.
Where it's going, just being able to pivot, but also while remembering, while you are pivoting, what you still need to get done, I think is just the biggest thing.
Yeah. And I like what you guys are talking about with time blocking.
Yeah.
I really believe in that. I believe that you have to utilize your calendar, utilize that time for you, right? Develop that routine so that you go into habit modes, right?
Yeah.
So that way you're always going to perform at that level. When it's just total chaos, it's not good. Controlled chaos is okay. You can deal
100%.
with that, right? But you have to have these things in place to build that routine so you can perform at a high level. Totally believe in what that's all about.
If it's like 30 seconds or a minute or less, like, just do it right then. Like, that's what we do too. It's like, or if it's just saying like, thank you on an email, or absolutely not on an email.
Yeah. Just like get it out of the way.
Just get it out of the way, because like, next thing you know, you've got, at the end of the day, 100 to 200 small, super, super small things that now are just one mondo or mega thing that you got to do. That's just a weight on your shoulders. It's going to be way too much. Like I said, and it can very much overwhelm you, where you've got big things that you actually still got to get done. You've got 200 small things you got to get done, and you're like, I only have maybe 3 hours left till it's midnight. How am I going to get it all done to get rest for the next day to go and attack the next day? So just getting those things out of the way and just getting stuff off of the plate in the meantime is, just been something that helps us out.
Yeah, make lists, right? Make lists for yourself and just tackle it. Just go one by one. And even for me, for the firm, I go through cases every week, A through Z, whether I'm updated about it on Friday or not. I take that time to go A through Z, because those certain routines will push the files. When you're pushing files, that's when you're making money.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people don't learn that early on, and then that's why they're all scrambled all over the place. So love these strategies that you guys are going into. I got to ask this question. So I think there are certain skills that investors, realtors should have when getting into this business, getting into real estate. What would you say is like the number one skill you think investors and realtors should have with real estate?
Yeah, I would honestly just say like the market knowledge is the biggest thing, and like knowing, what like top and bottom dollar you can sell for is just like knowing your values, knowing your rehabs. Like I've heard horror investor stories of where, their contractor told them it was a $6,000 rehab and they spent 60. Like if you're going into a deal thinking anything's gonna be done for $6,000, you need to do more research. So having everything mapped out, building a team is the big thing too. So having people that are providing you deals, having, contractor lined up, having, a listing agent ready if you're not, the agent yourself. So just having that team in place and knowing what you're buying is the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. So, I myself, like I spend so much time just researching, knowing areas, knowing neighborhoods, knowing, what's going on here, development that's coming there, and just knowing exactly what's coming into an area. That way, like I'm educated on it and I can inform people as well. So just taking that extra time to like be an expert in your area is going to help you do more deals.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool.
And I would say too, is just talk to everybody, and it kind of ties into what Casey's saying too, but you don't have to know everything, but like try to know everybody. Like, again, I don't know every intricacy of probate, but you know what? Al does. I could call it. I could get like an honest answer. Like, hey, we could game plan and like figure it out to know like, okay, maybe we come up with like the best. We want this option to go to the best. If now we've got like 2 scenarios where we can divvy up and just like kind of figure it out, and you know how to go and handle that situation. But when you're starting out, like talk to people, go to networking events, like become friendly with people where it's like, hey, the Jacksonville community is amazing with answering questions and being open to where, you can go and look at a house or take a look at somebody's project, like hear the horror story of like, you don't have to go and, mess up on a flip to necessarily learn about that mess up on a flip. You can hear that horror story from another investor, another flipper, somebody else that's gone through that, where you can learn the knowledge. And that's where for us as, personal investors, we may have not, flipped hundreds of deals like we have on the wholesale side, but, we got to see every experience from what worked for that investor, what sold in that neighborhood. Why did that investor's project that started 2 months later sell faster than one that started 3 months ago? Like you're seeing all these things of, all right, this house that was built, this had XYZ wrong with it. We're learning all this stuff just based off other experiences, adding it to our tool belt and going from there.
Yeah, there's so many things to go around, right?
Yeah.
There's so many skills that you can learn. Just fine-tune those, hold on to them, and just work with the right people. Build those relationships so you can learn what they are. And whether it's sales, negotiation, team building, just learn from other people, because you'll pick things up as you go, right?
100%.
So, I got to know, I know you guys are big on goals, visions, what you all plan to do, whether getting into more Jacksonville real estate, going outside the market. And a question that I found that seems to be pretty interesting with the show has been a what's next. So I got to know, what's next for the Sheehan brothers?
Yeah. You want to go first?
Yeah, like we'll tie it in, for us, we're very aligned with our goals, and we, Casey knows a lot of mine. I know a lot of his, and a lot of ours blend together. So even just on the NetWorth Realty side, we want to be the #1 NetWorth Realty office nationwide. Like I said, we want to be the top office that's doing the most deals, bringing the most to the community, and we want our team to be the #1 team. And for us, that's the biggest thing, is we're not just on like a personal level of winning. Like if our team's winning, I'm winning, Casey's winning, our entire team's winning. Again, we'd much rather be celebrating together on that yacht in Miami than just one person doing it and running it solo. So for us, we really want our team to be a #1 team and to have all of our agents hit their goals this year. And just on a personal thing, I want to continue to buy properties. I eventually want to own, over 100 plus stores. And, for me, I own properties in Tampa. We started to do it here in Jacksonville where, you're learning the different things, but continue to buy to build to the rental portfolio. Like that's why I got into this business over 5 years ago, is because I wanted to be a real estate investor. I thought, I'm going to go work for a bank, make a bunch of money, and start buying rental properties. And then I meet Josh and Jackson, my trainer. They're teaching me these ways of all these. I didn't know what a hard money loan was. I didn't know what wholesaling was. I didn't know all these things, to where now we've added to it to where I can actually go and do and perform and hit my goals at the end of the day. But definitely for us is just continue to buy properties, revitalize the Jacksonville community. Like very, very excited for Jacksonville, and from us coming from Tampa, like we've seen that commercial development side really change a community. Like, I've got properties that we bought for extremely low that you would have never thought that community would have been revitalized or changed, but armature works goes in, Water Street goes in, and all of a sudden the community starts to change. And I really think that's going to happen with, amazing companies like JWB and other big players coming into town, building the Four Seasons. I mean, like, putting the Four Seasons downtown, like, stuff is going to get nicer. It's going to get better.
Yeah.
Like, and there could have been people like, oh, they're putting a 5-star hotel in downtown Tampa. People were like, that's silly. Why would you do that? And you know what? People love it now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So I'm really excited to see where the growth of Jacksonville goes, and just excited to be part of it. Hope we can just build it one door at a time.
Love that. Love that.
Absolutely. I think he kind of nailed the answer for the both of us. But yeah, just growing our team to be, the top team. And then, myself, I'm aiming to be the top agent in the company. So that's another big goal of mine, as well as just buying more properties. So looking to expand my rental portfolio right now. We're investing in like a lot of the same areas. So just looking to grow and, overall just keep doing deals.
Yeah.
Cool.
When you're the number one agent with NetWorth Realty nationwide, you get a Rolex. So that's the prize.
Really?
So we'll have to talk after in January. Casey will show you his wrist. There you go.
Oh wow! Yeah, you want something?
He wants to go number one. So
want
after
to.
the year, so he's pushing to go number one this year.
Okay.
So if he goes and hits it, he'll have a Rolex next year.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, guys, this has been so fun. Like this whole experience of having you guys in the studio, this has been awesome. I'm so happy we got to do this and sit down with you. I always do something for my in-person guests. I always have a gift for you. So I have the Al Nicoletti Show mugs.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah. Here's yours.
I will be drinking out of this later.
Everyone, now they'll know whose mugs are in the office.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a lot of mug stealers.
And then I have a shirt for you guys.
All right.
There we go. Look at this, right? And then you turn it around, and you got the other logo.
Sweet. Appreciate it. Al.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
There we go.
One for you, one for
Sweet.
you. Yeah.
So much.
Swagged out today, man.
There you go. Yeah. I just, it's so great we get to do this, right? Like, how often do we get to plan this out?
Right.
And, our days are so busy. We're business owners, we're
100%.
entrepreneurs, and it's a lot. It takes a lot to be able to do this. So it means a lot for me, for you to come out, and my team. We love doing these kinds of things. So
well, we can't thank you enough, sir. I mean, you've really helped our business over the years. I mean, we did our first deal together. I think it was like 2020 where I've been involved with Al and like what he's done for just NetWorth Realty and our company just in the state of Florida and really helping us grow. I mean, you've educated, you may not know it, Al, but you've educated so many agents and just helped their journey. And, you may not get to see it or get that honor or see that praise, but we just can't thank you enough for what you've done for us. And it's just really been special these years. So we just look forward to keep doing it, man.
Love it, guys. Love it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Really appreciate you guys. As I do at the end of my show, I do a segment called Final Words, Final Thoughts. This is where you just leave the audience with those last words, that last parting advice piece that you really want to give back and give to the community. So as I do, final words, final thoughts, the Sheehan brothers.
Absolutely. What I would just say is if you're looking to start investing in Jacksonville, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always looking to help people build their rental portfolios, get into flipping, help on the lending side. I'm an infinite resource because of people like Al and other people that I know. It's not all coming from me, so shout out to everyone behind the scenes, but I'm happy to help people get into their investing journey and just really helping, change Jacksonville one house at a time. So,
yeah, and we're always buying, man. We're here to be a helping hand no matter what, and just, like I said, Casey and I's grandpa, I said this on another podcast before, but my favorite piece of advice was, he said his 2 keys to success in life were lazy and stupid. And with the delegation, and I said, why, Grandpa? Why? So I was like 8 years old when he said that. Yeah. And he's like, a lazy person is going to pay somebody else to do that task for him and still make money in the background. And a stupid person doesn't know what can't be done. So when everyone tells them it's not possible, they're going to go out there and do it anyways and prove them all wrong.
There you go.
So lazy and stupid, y'all. Those are the 2 things.
And we're going to leave it right there. Guys, so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Great episode. And I can't wait to see what you guys do later on and what you keep doing with your business. So Riley, Casey, thank you again for coming on the Al Nicoletti Show, taking the time out of your day to do this. And it was a blast, guys. And I can't wait to work with you guys on other probates and investing deals as they come up. I'm so excited. So we'll definitely catch up soon for sure.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
All right, guys, if you missed any of that episode with Casey and Riley, you got to go back, rewind the whole thing, check it out. Whether we're talking about their journey into the Jacksonville market, the internal process, the external process of how they've been building the team and the culture they've been building, and then the deals, the strategies, and the messy things that they've been going after. It is a loaded episode that you can all learn from on how you can really build your business, fine-tune your team, and level up your game. So if you missed any of that, check it out. And of course, you can find all the content on the Al Nicoletti Show. Scan the QR code. If you scan that right now, you'll see it. It'll pop up the link tree with all of our content. Follow us there. Subscribe. You know where to find us. And tune in every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you next Wednesday night. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.